Let's do it.
Hey there. Right, so been doing this little YouTube series with the contributors of my debut solo album, A Shadow of My Future Self, which is
Oh yeah.
out now to buy in physical form or listen as digital dust. And I'm joined by my good friend from Norway, Simen Sandnes.
Yay. That's me.
That's you. Thanks for joining me, man.
Thanks for having me. And thank you for having me on your amazing solo album. It was a blast to record, and it's so sick. It's so nice to finally just go into Spotify and just put on the album and listen through it all the way through. So nice. Congratulations.
Thank you, man. And I can't thank you enough for all that you did on the record. And I want to say that officially now for all the world to hear. Even though
you are so welcome.
We've all done our thank yous behind the scenes.
Yeah, of course. But you're most welcome. And it was really, really, really an honor to be asked to play drums on this. Like, it was one of the greatest moments so far in my musical career when you asked me to join this.
Wow,
so,
that's a big deal.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Well, the truth be told, you were the first person I reached out to. Once I'd done my demos, and I didn't really know who was going to be playing this stuff. And I even considered just doing it all myself at first, but then I sort of realized very quickly that I'm just not good enough on drums and keyboards really to pull that off. So yeah, you were my first port of call, and you actually helped me a lot. You were kind of like a executive producer in a way, because you hooked me up with a lot of other people on this record. In the
Absolutely,
we have several guests from Norway and from your neck of the woods, from your sort of social circles and musical circles, joining me on this. Christian Frostad, you hooked me up with him to do the steel lap guitar on.
Yeah, that's right. I'd forgotten about that actually. I actually forgotten about that. That's true. Yeah.
And of course, the Blåsemafian. Can you just help me with the pronunciation?
It's pretty close. It's a Blåsemafian.
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 Yeah, so it's pretty close. Pretty close.
Of course, the trio. Jorgen, Sigurd, and Stig.
Yes. It's pretty good. Yeah, it's pretty on there. Yeah.
Okay, close enough.
yeah. It's good.
But those guys did some great work on the record.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's so cool to hear like the final version of it, like how they raised some of the tracks, kind of like to, I wouldn't say like a new level because all of the tracks are so good, but it's just like the extra spice that they put on it by like the arrangement and just how that trio sounds together. It's just so spicy and so beautiful in many ways.
Oh, totally. I mean, I know that they're sort of what they do normally is like completely different to this kind of stuff. So,
yeah, but they were all like they were all like a brass backing or like a brass group. So they've done like everything from like country gigs to pop gigs to like big TV shows. Like they've done everything. So it's just like in the last couple of years they have started to like brand themselves like as an individual artists as well. Kind of like they've been like a backing band for people or backing brass section for people to use, and now they start becoming like their own individual artists. So that's kind of like why like they are kind of like distant in themselves from what they want to be put on with their name, kind of, because it's just in the last year that they become like an artist.
Yeah, they're involved with Eurovision as well, weren't they?
Exactly, they got top 3 in Norway. So.
So cool.
From being like total underdog till being top 3, it's like insane.
Yeah, it was great to have them on the record. And also, most importantly, you hooked me up with Karim, who mixed the record, and he's done. He did a lot of work on your drum parts and editing wise, and he was with me for the whole process. I know there's an episode out there with me chatting to him, but we go through this stuff, but. Just to repeat that, like he was with me for the whole process, and whereas a typical mix engineer would just sort of do a month with me. Like he was with me for several months, like working
Yeah.
on the guitars and making sure that I was doing the right thing there. And then I was getting drum tracks from you much earlier than I expected, and so he was editing those and giving me samples.
Yeah, and the good thing about all of this is that Karim was kind of like the thing connecting all of us, because it's kind of hard when you like send something there and then he has to like edit those, and when there was like a part where you're like, oh, that drum fill was too much, he was just like, yeah, I'll fix it, I'll find another take where Simen did something different, and he just fixed it, while usually it would be like, okay, you have to go back and track that again. But since it was Karim, he would just be like, he would just fix it and just make the whole process for everyone way more convenient. So hats off to Karim for doing insane work on both the production and mixing, and overall being the best dude to be in this industry, basically.
Yeah, everyone's gone above and beyond, and
absolutely,
you included. And yeah, we're here to talk about drums, obviously, as well as talking about other people.
The most important, the most important instrument of your record. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah, but before we do, like, I just want to talk about, because maybe not everyone knows who you are and how we met and stuff. So just wanted to like go back in time a little bit and talk about how we know each other. And sort of how it all began and what we've done, what we've worked on together and stuff like that. So
we've done a lot of things together,
right?
Yeah, we will live together more than you've lived with your wife, basically.
I mean, it's close.
It's close, yeah, right.
So I first came across you in 2016, I think. When your band Archetype joined Haken on the Affinitor.
Oh yes.
Was it the Affinitor or the? It was the Affinitor.
Affinitor, May 2016 till June 2016.
Yeah, because we did 2 big tours supporting Affinity. Like we did this 10th anniversary as well, so I get confused with those sometimes. I'm not like Mike Portnoy, if he's got a perfect memory for dates. It's just ridiculous.
It's insane. He can remember like back in '94, 20th of February, Russia, Moscow. You know,
it's absolutely mental. Yeah. I don't even remember what I did yesterday.
Exactly.
But that extends to that segues into like how that relationship evolved, because actually you were really hands on. With like behind the scenes in the production of the day, you know, really helpful on stage, setting up during sound checks, things like that. You went above and beyond back then. You weren't just the drummer of a support band. You just stayed to yourself. You got involved. You got to know us, and it was really impressive. And obviously, subsequently, we took you on and hired you on a couple of Haken tours as sort of a stage tech and a social media guy and all this stuff, and so that was cool, and that extended to the Shattered Fortress as well, where you joined Mike as a drum tech as well.
Stage manager. I was on that tour. Stage manager. Yeah. So I set up all the guitars for all the guys and made sure they had sound before sound check, and all of that type of stuff. As well as some social media and some booking or like films and stuff like that as well.
Were you like secretly hoping one of the drummers would break their leg and you could just step in and take the glory?
No, I at that point I was kind of like whenever I do something, I always do it like 100%. So if I have a specific job, I just like to do that job the best way that I can.
Yeah, you're an absolute pro, and knowing that you're a drummer and you're just there to sort of tech and stuff, and that's just. It shows great character.
Thank you. Thank you.
And I remember, when I have to kind of storm off stage during instrumental sections in Haken, and I'd have like my ear monitor was all over the place, and you'd always be there to sort of give me a hug and say, it's all right, and then fix things on the side of stage, and I'd be like, I'm having the worst show, things like this. So yeah, you've just been a total supportive guy.
Thank you. Right back at you. I don't know. I don't think we've said it enough times, but how much that Haken tour did for Archetype, and that you guys brought us on, and how much Haken and Shattered Fortress, and how much all of you guys have been involved in my life in a positive way. It's just I can't thank you guys enough for bringing me on of that stuff.
It's a
It's
pleasure.
been absolutely so much learning and just been so good.
Oh, it's been a pleasure. And one final thing that people should know about the live DVD that Haken put out was that a lot of the a lot of the footage ended up from the pro team we hired ended up not really being usable. But luckily, Simen was in the pit in the Amsterdam show, filming stuff with his pro camera in the pit, and we got a lot of shots just from your footage. And it's
Yeah, I remember when you send me the CD or the live DVD, there's a note on it. It just says like, "Thank you for saving our live DVD.
yeah,
You are the best."
it's-
Love it, Ross.
yeah, it's because we committed to that particular show, and that's
Yeah.
and then when we discovered there were gaps in the footage, we were all sort of having a bit of a meltdown. But
Yeah.
yeah,
Then I just sent off my footage and it worked out.
I think we thanked you twice in the actual booklet.
Yeah, it's no, not just twice.
Credits you.
3 times. 3 times.
Okay. Brilliant. Yeah,
It's so good. I was just laughing when I saw that. It was just so funny. It was so good.
Anyway, and then of course, knowing how good you are as a drummer, it's led to our relationship on this record. And when I was stuck actually, I was never stuck. I always had you in my mind as drumming on this, and that's the truth. So yeah, well,
Thank you.
You were the first person I reached out to. Hey, you interested? Yes, brilliant. And then evolved from there, and it turns out you were the right person. I just knew it all along.
Yeah, but it was so fun, and it was kind of like it was so nice to just play some rock again and just like lay it in there. And it's kind of like coming from like the prog world, and I've been doing a lot of like intricate stuff. It was kind of fun to see how I could implement some of those elements without being too much. So that was kind of like the most enjoyable thing for me, was kind of like, how much of my own thing can I do on this without it being without taking too much focus away from like, how can I serve the song in the best way while still implementing some flavors that's not usually used in this type of music.
Yeah, and that was a big thing going into this, because coming off the back of Virus, I actually needed to do something that was a lot simpler, and I obviously had to think really carefully about who I was asking, and I was very conscious about asking you and Vikram and Nathan, particularly you 3 guys, about doing this, because you're all like super extremely great players, and I'm asking you to do this like simple basic pop stuff, but you all found it really liberating and fun, and that was beautiful.
Oh yeah, it was so good. It was so fun, and it's something as you said, liberating about just playing some music,
Yeah.
just playing good tunes, and just like it's about the music and not about how many 16th note triplets you can fit into a bar with the different orchestrations. But yeah, so that was just like, it was super fun, and I just enjoyed myself so much when I was recording and listening to the demos, and just like finding all the flavors that like, yeah, I can add this. And the cool thing was that I had like from August till like December 2019, I did like an exchange year at MI in Hollywood, and there were so many new things that I learned there that like I could use, that was so applicable to this album. And it was just so cool to see that a lot of the things that I learned there could be used so musically. So I was really like first time trying it out musically after like been working on it for kind of like 5-6 months, So that was super, super fun.
Anything specifically that you can think of?
Yeah, I have set it ready here actually, and it's from what is it called? Words We Cannot Say.
Oh yeah.
It's this in the beginning of the second chorus, I think, or in the middle of the second chorus. Let's see here. Yeah, it's here. As you can hear here, like we can do the solo drums only. the first verse is kind of like just the basic beat, where it's like I hit the bass drum on a ba da 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 da, but it's very subtle. But that you can't kind of like really hear it. But I was working a lot of like doing different bass drum rhythms while playing paradiddles over. So a paradiddle, for those who don't know, is just like right, left, right, right, left, right, left, left. It's just like a sticking, and I was doing a lot of like working on doing different bass drum grooves over that while I was at MI, and here was just like this second part of the verse too needs like a little extra push. What can I do to not make it too pushy and still contain the groove? And I was just doing exactly the exercise that I've been doing at MI for like 3 months, just getting up to speed, and I could use it like musically to give like it an extra push without being too much. Kind of, so you can hear it like on. Let's say listen to it with the track first. So it comes here, yeah. And you can't really hear it. That is like not just a regular beat, but when you listen to the drums separately, I think you will hear it really well. To be honest, let's see. So it's kind of way more hectic on the second part, but it still has like that the same bass drum rhythm as the previous verse. So it's like a very subtle change, but to me it makes like all the difference to just make that verse have a bit more intensity. Because I mean, I'm going from just going da 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 to feeling all the 16th notes in the bar with my hands as well, but still containing like the main groove of it. So that was something that I worked on a lot while I was at MI, and I just like, this is perfect to use this here. And then of course we just have to listen to that drum break again, because that drum break into the second verse is just stupid. Let's listen to it. Yeah. Yeah, as I said earlier, I have no idea what's going on there.
Unfortunately, like I wanted to sort of have on display all the original demos and stuff. My tech has failed me, so I'm not able to show this on the video. But that definitely was not in my demo.
No, it was not.
And yeah, obviously.
I think that drum fill there is just like when I record, like I usually learn all the songs. It depends on how hard the songs are, but like for this one, I learn the song, and then I do a couple of takes where like I do all like full on takes, and then after like I've done 4 or 5 takes maybe, I always do like a take where it's just like, okay, now I know the song so well, so let's have some fun and see what happens.
Yeah, totally.
And I think I just at this very take, it was just like, okay, I've done this fill kind of like easy going in every time. Let's just go for it and let's see what happens. And like I see, you can kind of hear that I don't exactly have a plan with it, because it has some hits that just doesn't feel right, but it just gives like the extra tension that you wouldn't exactly get in a lot of these songs, like this kind of genre as well. So that's kind of like one of the things that I found was very cool when when I recorded this, I didn't remember this fill being so weird, but when I remember listening back to the first mix we got, I was just like, holy shit, what happened there?
Yeah.
Did I play that? And I was like, yeah, I guess I did. And then I remember like, yeah, that's right. That was that time I was just having some fun.
That's exactly what the song needed. And I think when you let your guard down in that respect, that's when some of the your natural talent comes through, and you just feel a bit more at ease. And I find that with guitar as well. I could be there hours trying to get like the exact notes and the right times and dead on in the grid and blah blah blah. But
exactly.
But it was really important to have a bit more feeling with this stuff. And yeah, when you let your guard down, this stuff just comes out. That's the gold. That really.
Yeah, and it also has to be like, it also has to serve the music kind of. And I think that's kind of like what happened here. That like I was just reacting on impulses, and that was all I was like reacting on using. I was just using my impulse, like, okay, let's just go for it and see what happens. And then you just don't think, it just happens. And that's always, basically always, when the magic happens. And there can also be magic in goofing, like if you make a mistake.
Yeah.
There can be magic in that you try to do something you can't do, and then you work on that and you learn something new just from going for something. And I think that, like, that's when I've listened back to the album, it's like a lot of places where I'm kind of like, and I can hear that, here I've just done what feels natural for me. And it's so nice to hear that it's a lot of the things that I feel that falls natural to me sound so good in the musical context that I feel like it's always serving the song in the right way. That sounded very braggy, but I didn't mean it as.
Well, no, I mean, essentially, my drum programming skills are not all that great. So the demo tracks I was sending you, I mean, they were okay.
Absolutely.
They were more as an intention, and I think it was like sort of the finer details with specific fills, and what you might add, what other spice you might add in yourself. I was kind of leaving that to you in a way, which so was that pressure, or was that okay? I mean, is that how you like to work?
That's initially like how I like to work. I've done this. I've done a lot of like session work where people want me to play exactly, or not a lot, but some session work where people want me to play exactly what they have programmed. And to me, that's kind of like, well, why do you want me to play exactly what you programmed? Don't you want to hire me for what I can bring?
Yeah.
Like with my musical background, don't you want to find that type of thing? And I always thought that, like, if you want me to play exactly what you programmed, then you should hire a drummer who specializes in that.
Right.
Who is like really good at just doing note for note for note. Because for all drum fills and all like musical flavors, I will just bring whatever feels natural to me. I will always work on my instincts and what I know, what is like in my muscle memories and what I know feels right. So for me on this one, it was just like, how much of myself can I put into this record without being too much, and how little can I play and still serve the song, kind of. It was like a back and forward between adding stuff and then holding back. But it was a very, very nice challenge, and I feel that with help from Karim and you mixing up a little bit of the takes and stuff back, like when I wasn't kind of in, what do you call it, active on it, that really like made everything fall into pieces perfectly.
Yeah, there wasn't too much of that, to be honest. I was really satisfied, I would say, with 90-something% of what you were sent me. There was one track which we can look at later, Third Degree, which wasn't right at all, and that was down to my bad programming, to be honest. But everything else that came through once Karim had done a little bit of sort of editing and snapping to the grid and whatever. Although I don't think he did a lot of that either, to be honest.
No, it's just like, but in these type of records, like when you are when you're recording with so many different people from different places, it's kind of like things like that just have to be he just like cleans up a little bit here and there, so it's, for me, it doesn't take away the energy from everything as well, a little bit cleaning up. And
it was all very natural.
And when you're like, you know, when I'm in Norway recording something, and then there's just like, we just need to do that different, like there was a bass drum hit that I didn't catch, kind of, or something like that, and he can just clip between or just edit a little bit, and you just save a lot of time. And luckily for us, we don't have a clock going, just like, the taxometer is running, you know.
Yeah, like I said,
we didn't have that.
There was just a couple of moments, I think, where we just took from another take, or maybe I got you to do one more session with a couple of things. Phoenix was quite an important one, because there was so much to that track, and I think
10 minutes.
I was getting a bit fussy with the placement of bass drum hits or
Some
something.
snare. I think it was snare drum hits.
It might have been snare hits actually. Yeah.
Yeah, but then Karim was just legend. He was just like, oh yeah, I'll just find where he did this and then copy it to the next one, and then it's perfect. Then
I mean, it's great that we've got that technology to do that. I mean,
exactly, and that still sounds natural.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
And the ideal scenario for me would have been to come over to you and be there in person, you know. But
of course,
obviously, as we all know, the thing happened.
the thing.
the vid, and we weren't able to. But you know, next time, hey, next time. But we did have a solution for third degree.
Oh yeah, that was fun.
Do you have that on? I know you don't have the whole session, but you've got the third degree track there, haven't you?
Oh yeah, I do. Let me share the screen again. So the thing here was that Ross sent me he sent me like some programmed drums. I wish we had those here so people can listen. But I think it was that they were like super hectic. Like the drums were like extremely hectic. But like it was just so much information about they were very, very, it was played very, very softly. In your programming to be very, very softly, and I was just like, I can't play this hectic, that soft. It's just not possible, because it was like the intensity of the programming was like it was a full on super hard beat, but then you're just like taking the velocities just like all the way down, and it was just like I just can't figure it quite out. So remember when I sent you stuff, it was kind of like super hectic. I tried to like interpret what you sent me the best way possible. And I just remember you were like, no, this is just completely wrong. You know, I was like, yeah, I agree with you. It's completely wrong. So let's figure it out.
Yeah.
And then we did like a live session over Zoom, I think, or maybe it was Skype at that time.
Yeah.
It was Skype even.
Live.
And we did like,
It was like a 2-second delay kind of feed into your studio.
Yep.
And we were obviously going through the track one by one, section by section, and figuring out what to do. Like you said, it was hectic. I think I was trying to be too clever with sort of ghost notes and little extra details, which you don't really hear in the demo, but they're there. Yeah. So when you were analyzing the drums, your parts,
I think I was playing it kind of like exactly what you programmed,
right?
But it just didn't sound good on real drums.
So that's where the limitations with my programming skills sort of became evident. But we're all learning here.
Yeah, but I think it all worked. It all worked out for the better, to be honest. The initial idea kind of like reflected in the. It's still there. The initial idea is still there. It's just been modified for a real drum kit with a real drummer, kind of.
Yeah. I mean, it was the next best thing. Having that live link up, and it works so great, and it just proves that you can't really replace that interaction between two musicians, especially when you're coming up with stuff. Even though we got away with it on the majority of the album. I mean, luckily, I assume it was a mixture of the other drum tracks were kind of good enough to interpret, and your professionalism sort of added into it. So what I got back was just like next level, and I didn't have anything really to fix. But yeah, this track needed it. Should we listen to something? I don't know.
Yeah, let's listen to something. I think this is to one of the choruses that's coming here. Yeah, this is the bridge going into the bridge here. Oh, such a nice song. Yeah, there you can like hear like the drum fill that was going on there. I'll see if I can find a chorus real quick. Yeah, it's here.
So
Yeah.
this chorus.
Remember? Sorry. You first.
I'll go first because you weren't the only one. This chorus tripped up Nathan, I think, as well. It was just like this song. It's a little bit of a trick of the mind with the time signature because I think it's mostly bouncing, and you can count it in 3, 4, 6, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. But it also has this 4/4 sort of trickery, and I think you guys were following the 4. 1, 2. 3.
Yeah. What I was thinking. Remember the first time.
I can't remember what it was that was stumbling you up.
The thing is, like when you come to the chorus, I remember perfectly now. Let's see. Go straight to the chorus here. So the thing was here. You can say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1. So that was the thing that we were going with the 6/8 all the time, but
not doing the half.
Yeah, because it flips midway, so it's kind of like like you could say it's like a 9/8, but it's like a 6/8. But then you change where the 1 is supposed to be felt, kind of. Yeah. So I remember going like the first time I was playing it was just like so weird because I was feeling it way different. I think Nathan probably was doing the same thing, that he was feeling the downbeats always on like a 6. So if we listen to that again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That was what we initially were listening and I was feeling. I remember that so well. That was really, really messing with my head at the moment.
Yeah. So when I got your track back, the placement of the snares were like completely in the wrong place.
They were always at 4 in my head. 4. So it was always like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It was always It was always different.
Yeah. Anyway, we fixed that. I don't know.
We fixed that.
It's one of those things where like I should have explained it better, or like or mapped it out better. Like but
I remember when we were doing the phone call and we were doing like the live session, and you were saying, but there's something that's not right here with the snare placement, and I was like, oh, okay, what do you mean? So like when you go like. Da 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 da. That's it, you were like, there it starts again, and I was like, or okay, so you mean like ba da da ba, and then back, and we're like, yeah, that's right, and I was just like remembering, that's why everything has felt so weird on this chorus.
Like,
then
Ross,
it was just like,
Ross, speaking musical terms, buddy, come on,
come on, buddy, come on.
But it's just this song had been around for a long time. Just me and my guitar, so it was like I knew what I was talking about, but it was translating those ideas. There was just a stumbling block on that one.
But it turned out so well. I really like that song. It was so fun to play. I also remember like on the chorus there was just like on all of the ba da da do, there was like some insane drum fills. It was just like you had a program like. And I remember the first track or the first version of the song, I was trying to like replicate that intensity. Yeah. And that is when you heard it was just like, that's just completely wrong. Yeah. That's just like not what we're going for. And I was like, I just couldn't, because I couldn't tell if this song was in such an early demo state that you were going to add the intensity later to it, because that often happens, that you kind of like have to guess what kind of intensity should this song have, because I don't know how much has been done with it, So for me, I was just thinking in my head, he's going to add like some super heavy guitars here and just like going all full, like using your full chest voice and just going like completely mental. So I was just thinking that was going to happen. I was just like, when you came back to me and were telling me, no, this is how the song is, I was like, this is just completely wrong.
The importance of demos, hey?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But like all of your demos were pretty much as they are. Like everything that's been added on is just like my flavor and then Nate's flavor and then a lot of like nice flavors from Vikram as well, but like the
Absolutely.
initial ideas and the song structures, everything is there.
Yeah.
So it was super easy to follow, but it was just this particular song
Yeah.
with just like everything that you programmed just didn't work out on real drums at all.
Yeah, it was a lesson learned. But yeah, no, it's I feel very blessed to have you guys, fill in those extra colours, and yeah, it's a beautiful song.
Yeah, I really love it. I really love it.
Like I said, it's one I wrote when I was probably like 18 or something, and
oh really?
It's just been sitting there in my sort of personal repertoire. And
that's probably why you have that weird time signature change in it, because you were so influenced by all the Haken stuff you were doing at that time.
Trying to be clever,
yeah, the Aquarius stuff, which is like all the cleverness. That's probably why. That's probably why.
Probably. So we were. So I want to talk about this. When we were doing this record, you were doing was it a thesis or something on the recording protocols of like doing things in one take. Sort of the theory of that and the ethics of that, and as a musician, and because I wanted a bit of that on my record as well. I know you've done this with Archetype on a track or two.
On 5 tracks actually.
5 tracks.
Yeah.
And the importance of as a musician nailing stuff in one take. So yeah, I wanted a bit of that sort of attitude.
Yeah, of course.
On my album, and I think you delivered that on the most part.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, if
you
want me to elaborate a little bit about it, it's like I was writing a thesis about like how like people expect everything in both rock and metal to be perfect, and that the standard procedure of a drum recording is you do a couple of takes, you clip a little bit between them, and as soon as you are done, they are just quantized 100% to the grid, and then you add samples to it, and at the end of the day, it's like basically none of your playing is at the end result. And I'm kind of just like saying that I don't think it's right that should be the standard. I'm 100% for it in where it's a musical reason for it. Whereas like, Born of Osiris, for instance, wouldn't be Born of Osiris if it weren't for that type of sound. They need that type of sound to be Born of Osiris. But it's they do it for a reason.
Yeah.
But I don't like the idea that that's the standard for all metal and rock these days, that everything should be 100% perfect and trigger. So I kind of like, as what do you call it, oppression, or like reaction to this standard, I wanted to record the next batch of the Archetype album where every song was recorded in one take and no samples added or no editing. And I basically managed to do it without 2 or 3 exemptions, where I had to just cut like one part from a different take in. But I didn't feel that ruined anything, because it was just like everything was so natural anyways. It was just like I had a 10-minute song, and there was just like I did one small fuck up, and it's like getting one 10-minute song perfect in one take is basically impossible. So it was just like that one part, and then a drum fill from another part. Other than that, it's just like 100% one take and all natural. And the cool thing about it is that I felt even though we haven't released it yet, I've never felt so anxious about releasing music with Archetype, because I know that when people are going to listen to it, it's going to be 100% my performance. I'm not getting any help from editing. I'm not getting any help from samples. I'm not getting any help from any computer stuff. It's just like I felt so naked, like just showing it to the other guys in Archetype, like, so this is what I've recorded. I know it's not perfect, because nobody is perfect. And I was just so anxious to show it just to them even. And they were like, oh, this is so great. And of course we hear that there's some things, but like, I think when the energy is there, the energy is right. And that's kind of like that's where the metal has gone from like being energy based to precision based. And that's where I think we have lost a lot of things. Music shouldn't be about precision. Music should be about feelings. It should be about power. It should be about love and expression, not
Yeah.
about perfectionism and not about being precise. Of course, all of that helps making the music you want to make, of being a better musician and being precise and all of that. But it shouldn't be that. Or the thing I think is most wrong with metal today is that if you don't play 100% to the grid, it's wrong. It's like,
Yeah.
but that's wrong. And in art, there is nothing wrong. Kind of, if there's a meaning behind stuff, if the energy is there, and you have like one misplaced bass drum, who gives a crap, you know? Doesn't matter. It should be about. This should first and foremost be
Yeah.
expression and energy. So that's why, like, as a reaction to all of this, I just wanted to try to both see if I could do it. Like, am I a good enough musician to do this, or am I not a good musician to do this? And it was kind of like very like self-awakening experience, because it really helped me show how much more I care about my music when I put myself 100% naked on the table. It was kind of like weird. Like, I was so anxious about everything, when once we got like the first mix of the final song, I've never felt more joy listening to my own music. I've never felt more proud. I never felt more like this is 100% me, and the energy is just on a completely different level than it has ever been before. So I was just like, it's weird to say, but I was like blown away by the music that we had produced, because I've just been listening to the demos for such a long time, and as soon as something was finally done, it was just like completely different story. So I was just so glad that I did that, and for like all future releases and stuff, I've always tried to think energy first and foremost.
That'll be
energy.
your mentality going forward. Yeah, I mean, I was completely in that headspace as well. Approaching this record, without going into too much detail, I'd come off the back of Virus, and there's a lot of attention goes to getting things on the grid in Haken's music, and not just on drums but on guitars, and having everything really locking in, and that's why it's so tight, and it's a great sound. But
absolutely.
But it does require a hell of a lot of rehearsal to replicate that live, and that's testament to the. If anyone has enjoyed a Haken live show, you can be sure that a lot of work's gone into recreate. But it's a real headache in the studio.
Oh yes,
it's a real headache in the studio. And I'm just going to talk about vocals now, because the same sort of approach was taken to me delivering vocals, and I would get this really passionate performance, and then maybe it might not be exactly on the grid on a certain bit, or maybe I've just not quite gone a bit flat there. Sure, I could do that again, but the easiest thing is to just fix things around. It's really frustrating for a performer. And then there's the other side of it, is where that tool maybe is the best answer, because you do want the energy in there, but there's something about getting your part right as a musician, and having that like in a couple of takes. It's a bit different for vocals, I have to say.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Because there's so many nuances to delivering something through the voice.
Yeah.
But I certainly wanted to approach my parts, and I did a lot more stuff in sort of longer takes on the solo album. Delivering like the complete song a couple of times, rather than going through.
That's awesome.
Rather than word by word re-singing, like, I don't know, whatever word it is that the cockroach, and doing that over and over again until you're just sick and tired of just maybe trying to nail this one bit, and whereas you should have gone for the energy bit, take the first round.
Exactly.
So that was really frustrating. There's two ways to look at it. You do want, if you're putting music out, you obviously don't want mistakes in there. But if you testament to you, like, really hats off to you for achieving that with Archetype, because there's really complicated stuff. It's really complicated stuff.
It is.
And
And
that
there's a lot of things.
that must be really rewarding for you. That's all.
Absolutely, and there are stuff like we only have for now one song that's like completely done and mixed. And there's like some parts in it where I'm rushing a little bit and you can kind of like hear it. But when the entire band is like joining in on it, it's just like a nice wave of like push and pull and a little bit more tension. And for me, it'll just like, even though it's wrong, it just feels, it has a different feeling, you know?
Yeah, add something. Yeah,
it adds something,
more
absolutely.
organic, yeah.
And it doesn't feel, it's not like, it's not completely off. It's just like you can hear that, oh, the hi-hats at that, just like the first hi-hat was just like a little bit rushed. But it's like you're coming out of a big chorus and then going back to like a heavy breakdown again, and it's just like, just gives a little push to it and then gets it back on. It's just about how you perceive it, really. And to me, it was just about getting the energy right.
Yeah, definitely, and you did that for me as well, and that's I'm really grateful. For that.
Yeah, on this album as well, I was trying as much as I could to get things in complete takes.
Yeah,
as much as I could, and it's something when you do session, it's a bit about how much time I'm gonna spend on each song, because it's not often that the more time you spend on a song, the better it will be. It's like you can get more fluent with it, but it doesn't necessarily become any better. You have to like spend even like I could spend like 2 weeks on a song, and it could still be the same. And that's one of the inspirations for my thesis. Sorry that I'm just blabbering about this, but it's just
so interesting.
I get so passionate about this. Is that I was doing like one of the first like super, like not super big, but one of the first big sessions that I ever did. I spent like 2 weeks practicing like super hard for just that one song.
Yeah.
And then I was like, after 2 weeks, I was like, okay, there was like a super fast double pedal thing, and I was like, my feet are not 100% there yet, so I'm just gonna spend 2 more weeks getting those feet to get like super there, like perfect. And I spent totally like 4 weeks on one song that I was only getting paid like, I don't know, $120 or something for doing that. I spent like 4 weeks on it because it was super important to me that I did this super good and super right. So I did like the entire song, spent 4 weeks, did it all in one take. It was just like 2 or 3 places where I clipped in from a different take. And I was so happy about it. Yeah. It was like so good. And when I get the drums back, they've all been like super quantized, sample replaced, and it was just like, why even bother? It was just like, why should I even bother? Spend like 4 weeks on something, and then it was just like, okay, then I'll just step record, because no matter what I do, the people are just gonna quantize it anyway. So it will just be like, okay, I'm gonna step record this and do section by section. That takes me like I could have done that song in 3 hours, but I was just so passionate about getting it super perfect, and it would have been exactly the same result after it's quantized and clipped between sections and stuff.
Maybe, but from a personal sort of perspective, I'm sure like you're more proud, even though the final product has been butchered.
Exactly.
The fact that you achieved that in the first place and put all that effort in is the rewarding bit.
But was it worth it?
But it wasn't not for the money, no. But it stops you being lazy, right? I mean, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
But
time is money, as we all know.
Yeah.
So yeah. So, but yeah, for your record, I was saying, I was trying to do as much as I could in big takes, but it was like at certain points, it's kind of like, okay, I could spend 1 week just on this one song, trying to get as perfect as possible, or I can do it bit by bit, and or just do like 2 complete takes and then clip between the best takes.
Yeah.
So it was a bit of that, and I think I would say 50 to 60% of the songs are as much as one take as possible, and then like 40% are cutting between different takes and then doing some sections by sections. Like, for instance, The Apologist, which we can check a little bit here, since that is so super busy.
Yeah.
I was really working on getting all the parts as correct as possible.
Mm-hmm.
and that's kind of hard for a song that's so intense for so long.
Yeah.
So that is probably one of the songs that I had to do most bit by bit, just because of how intense it is. Really, I remember my left hand was just dying at the end. so
I'm sorry about that.
no worries at all.
I think I had a lot
It was
going
good fun.
on the hi-hat as well, right? There was plenty of activity.
Yeah, I was doing most of the stuff is my left hand actually, because the right hand is just going eighth note, while the other one is doing a lot of like 16th goat notes and stuff.
Right, exactly.
So let's listen to the original track at first. So as you can hear straight off the bat, a lot of things are going on here.
People are loving this track, by the way.
Yeah, it's so good, right? So yeah, if you do just the drums. So yeah, as you can hear, it's like I'm using the left hand basically all the way, because it's going like all the time. So like in between every kick drum hit, there's 2 16th notes as well, and then it's just going on the offbeats as well. So it's just that intensity, and it's just like ongoing through the entire song, except like this one place, and then you get back in here, you know, back to the same groove.
You have to like switch drummers at that point.
Yeah, exactly.
Very cool.
So yeah, with the song you can hear it. And also, can we just take a moment to appreciate Nathan's bass on just the entire album, but this song particularly, it's so stupidly good.
Yeah, I mentioned this. Hopefully I'll do an episode with him soon.
Yeah.
But
he should do it with his beautiful dark voice.
I mentioned this with Vikram, that he was sending me direct sort of replicas of my demo bass parts, and he would also send me the embellished version. And
exactly.
So for these particular moments on my demo, it's just doing the simple run. Do 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 do. He just he couldn't help himself. Yeah.
No, that's good.
And obviously those are the ones I went with because they just sound great. Yeah. And they lock in with you really well.
That's something that that's something that I remember feeling so strong about when we received his bass tracks, was like how extremely good he is locking into drummers. Like it was stupid. I've never no disrespect to any other bass players that I've ever played with, but it was just like insane how much his timing, how good he was to replicate my kind of like energy and timing. It was just insane. You can hear it a lot, like very, very well at Be The One as well. How like the bonus track. I'm not sure if I had the stems for that one up yet. No, I don't. But you hear it like so well on the verse, how extremely well he locks up with the drum timing. It's insane.
That was a great fun song to do, wasn't it?
The best one.
Is that one of your favorites, by any chance?
No, or it is my favorite, or not my favorite, but because I had recently, just before we did this album, I've been binging so much over that song and dualipa in general, just like a month before or something. I've just been listening to her album on repeat, and that was like at the time that was like one of my favorite songs ever. Yeah. And I was just listening to so much, and then you came with that version, and I was just like, "Holy shit, this is so good!" And it wasn't that the other songs were not good at all or anything like that. Yeah. It was just that I had such a strong connection to that song already. Yeah. And when you came, you just made it even better, and it was just like, no way! So it just meant so much to me that song was totally. It just meant so much to me.
And you made it even better by performing the way you did on it. I mean, it's really cool. You could feel the passion.
Yeah, it was so fun to play. I really loved it.
Yeah, I mean that was the point.
And
I mean, the album's long enough without it, but I just it was important that I just sort of rounded everything off with a big old fun rock play along, sing along, something that people might know. It's just like it's all about the feel good in the end.
And it was you did such a good version of it. Such a good version of it.
Cool. I mean,
Really.
My register sort of fits comfortably up there where female vocalists sort of sit. So I mean, it's
definitely
nice for me.
top tier. It's so good.
Top tier. Very cool. Just for the drum geeks, obviously we don't have to go on too long about this, but do you want to talk about what kits plural you used, or drum mics and things like that?
Yeah.
Some of this stuff goes over my head, but people might be interested in what you're using.
One thing you should know, Ross Jennings. There's one thing you should know. And that's the drum kit I have now, which is a Black Panther Design Lab Mercedes. It's a completely new drum kit from Apex. I'm actually the only guy in Europe who has that exact drum kit.
Oh, wow. This has been issued to you when? Like recently?
I got it in April last year.
Oh, wow. Cool.
Yeah. And it's super, super exclusive, and basically no one has it. I think there's like in the UK, there's maybe 2 or 3, but it is not the same color and doesn't have exactly the same depths, or it's not the same configuration that I have.
So was I one of your first recordings using this?
Yes.
Maybe.
I think you were. I think it was this one. I think you were like, I'd done like maybe 1 or 2 singles for some other people before that, but this was the first album that I used it on.
Amazing.
And then it went on to our Archetype album after that.
Yeah, that's killer.
So yeah.
So what about like mic placements and types of mics you use, and like were you mic in the room as well as close miking and like standard, right?
Yeah, it's kind of like a standard setup, but it's what I was doing is like the room that I had back there was kind of like it was kind of like, I was gonna say smelly, but it's not smelly, because in Norway smell means like bang. It was kind of like boomy, kind of like big boomy. Yeah. And we have a joke in Norway that says it's not the fart that kills, it's the smell. But fart in Norway is speed, and smell is the crash, the input. So
still works.
It still works. Yeah.
Brilliant.
So it's if you crash a car, it's not the fart that kills, it's the smell.
Wow.
Works both ways. So yeah, fart in Norwegian is speed. Now you know. But yeah, it was kind of like boomy, big and boomy, bright boomy kind of, and I really wanted to capture that sound as well. So whenever I do drum recordings, I also have 2 stereo room mics that's kind of like far away from the drums, and then 1 mono mic that I have kind of like in the middle of those, kind of like a triangle. So you have like the middle mic here, and then the 2 room mics on each side here. So it's kind of like it's easy to face it correctly, and Karim is just so good at all of that stuff, getting all the drums aligned face-wise, and he's like one of the most extraordinary persons I've ever worked with when it comes to like getting the drums recording to have its full potential without touching the EQ or anything. It's just like every time I send something over to him, he can just level it correctly and aligning the faces correctly. And then it's just like, what did you do with it? I haven't touched it. I was like, it sounds super good. But he really hasn't touched anything. He's just he's just so good with that. So 3 room mics, kick drum, kick drum, kick drum. I have 1 kick mic in, kick mic out, and then a sub kick, which is like just a subwoofer for the kick drum. It just takes from about 600 and down in the hertz. 2 mics and snare, tom, and then we have overhead, ride microphone, hi-hat microphone, and 3 room mics. Yeah, that's
Amazing.
it.
Very cool.
Going through some cool preamps and stuff that I have on the side here, but I can't show it to you right now. But yeah, going through some cool preamps and compressors and stuff. Like the room mics were already a bit compressed when I sent it to Karim, and the overheads were running through some nice Focusrite preamps and stuff. So it's all fun and games, expensive fun.
Yeah, it's good. It's good to get that stuff right at the source, though. Like you said, like I mean, Karim was like knocking out these drum mixes very quickly, so that must have been why. Obviously, just a little bit of
and we have worked together so much. Like he's kind of like my second hand, I would say, almost. He's like we work together on so many things, and he's so. Before I even started recording, I sent him like just like 30 seconds of a song that I recorded for you, and then we're like, how is this sounding? And then it's just like move the room mics a little bit further away from the drum kit, and flip the face on the kick drum, or move. And I was like, okay, cool. How's this? No, there's a little bit too much hi-hat bleed in the snare drum. Try to angle it differently. And I was like, okay, cool. How's it? Yeah, everything's good now. Go for it.
That's a wonderful ear. That's a wonderful ear he's got. That's amazing. It really is.
Stupid. It's so stupid how good it is.
Yeah.
So when Karim this episode should just be called Simen and Ross sending all their love to Karim.
Absolute legend, seriously. And yeah, can't thank you enough for connecting us. And it's been
and it was so good to finally be able to give Karim like a super nice session for someone. He's been doing so much good stuff for a lot of like undercover bands. Right. So it's like super cool to give him like a established artist, and like it's nice project with great musicians, and it was just so cool to give him something that could match his level, kind of like in production wise.
Yeah,
because he's been making magic for shitty bands for too longs, and now it's just for too longs, actually, for too long.
Too long? Two
longs. No, just one longs for me, please. He's making magic for shitty bands for too long, and now we finally were able to like really show off how good he really was for a great artist like yourself. And I heard that you tried to get him to mix some other stuff that you were working on with some other bands and stuff like that. So that's just super great.
Oh yeah, we did the Japanese bonus track, which was basically Third Degree, but just orchestral, basically. So we remixed that, and we did an edit of Phoenix, which I may or may not ever see the light of day, because it's sacrilege to break something like that down. But also there's the bonus track on the Neil Morse album that I'm putting out in February with Neil Morse and Nick DeVigilio. He's mixed the bonus track on that record, so it was really cool to get him involved on that side of things as well. So yeah, it's
exactly.
It's all about spreading, networking and working on many things, and hopefully more people will come by him and use him. And,
absolutely. I think he's such a good guy as well, and that's just so much to say in this.
Yeah, same goes for you and Vikram as well. I think you all, I mean, Nate's doing great with playing with Devin. But again, like maybe they're all names that maybe people haven't heard, and it was a cool to give you guys a bit of that spotlight in some way, And I want you to be famous, boy.
And we're gonna get famous on the Ross Jennings Stadium Tour 2023.
There you go. Buy your tickets soon.
What is it called? Wembley Arena. Here we come.
Oh boy, well, it's possible.
Who knows?
Anything's
possible. Everything is possible.
Absolutely. Yeah, man. Thanks again. Like, really, truly, was an absolute honor. Just to wrap things up.
Likewise.
Did you want to promote yourself a bit? You do a lot of sort of stuff for various companies, plugging products, audio products, plugins. Talk about that for a bit.
Yeah.
Who do you work for?
I work for everybody. Yeah. Everybody. Yeah. Now at the moment I have like a position in Submission Audio, which is run by the guy who mastered your album,
right.
Ermin Hamidovic.
Yeah, Nice.
Yeah, he's such a legend. And so yeah, I do a little bit of customer support there, and then a little bit of like making some product demos and stuff like that. It's really fun to be part of like an upcoming company on the plugin side and see how all of that works, as well as have a steady job with Need Music, where we do mostly like well, I would say we do music entertainment for the corporate event industry, or
Yeah, I mean,
corporate event
I've
business.
seen your posts. I was going to ask you about Need Music actually,
Yeah.
because just looks like this continuous party that you're having in Norway.
It is
Like
absolutely, yeah. So it's fun. It's really fun. It's and the cool thing about it is that I get to do so much of the stuff I love. You know that like I love doing videos and design stuff and like use my creativity in all sorts of way. And with Need Music, I get to do like all the stuff that I love in very nice portions. Like when I was with you guys on tour, I just did like the video stuff, and then I was kind of like missing out on playing drums for like 3 weeks. But here is like I go to the office in the morning. I meet up with all the people I love. I get to do like videos. I get to send emails and help the business grow. I get to take on new artists to New Music and get them in. Like just today, I had practice with Frederick, who actually sings a little bit on your album.
Oh yes,
Frederick Klemp, yeah, from Marathon.
Mm-hmm.
He's joining the Need Music Rooster as well. So I had a practice with him today, just doing all of that stuff. I really love it. And then tomorrow, like basically every day on the night this week, except today, I have a gig. So it's like I get to play drums, I get to do music, I get to do video, I get to do onboarding, I get to do like all the stuff that I love. So it's just like a dream job, really.
Oh, you are living the dream. That's great. Really
Absolutely, and I couldn't be more happy, to be honest. And I still have time to do some sessions right now, like the event market, because COVID is like all COVID restrictions are lifted in Norway. Everyone is just going completely nuts.
Yeah, I can see.
Like our schedule is just stupidly busy at the moment. So I have said no to like all session stuff basically till like June next year.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, I better book you up fast for the follow-up album. It's okay. It's nowhere near ready yet.
Yeah. So yeah, I do that, and then of course there's Archetype going on. We're still in the writing, or we have written everything. But it's just like we're going through a lot of the stuff that was written and rearranging a lot of stuff. We're like kind of like we're noticing a little bit too late that maybe some of the riffs and stuff doesn't exactly work great with vocals and stuff like that. Even though I have recorded drums for it. So instead of changing stuff up with the drums, we're changing stuff up with the melodies and rearranging a little bit. It's still the same song, but it just feels different. So yeah, we're doing that. And then there's just a lot of different stuff going on all the time, basically.
You've got a few Archetype singles out, right? I mean,
yeah.
I mean,
four from the new one. Yeah, 3 or 4 from the new one, I think, and then we have the old album out as well. I mean, a lot of things happened since then.
So anyone who's still watching this conversation and is unacquainted, do go and check out Archetype, because like I said at the very beginning, this is how I discovered Simen. And they're just
that sounds so wrong. This is how I discovered Simen.
Or Simon, as we'd pronounce it here, but yeah, that trips us up a bit sometimes.
Yeah, but I remember that's one of the most fun things on tour, because I always said like, "Hey, hi, I'm Simon," and then Ray would always come going like, "No, your name is Simen." And I was like, "Okay, hey, my name is Simen." I remember Mike Portnoy shouting my name I think it was in London. He was gonna he was trying to get my attention somehow. He was just like shouting like, "Hey, Simen!" And all the crew members from, I think it was the O2 Arena, O2 Academy, O2 Academy. Everyone was just like looking at him, just like, what is going on? Like, why? And it was just like, hello, here I am.
Yeah, I guess it never really occurred to me. I mean, I know quite a few Simens now. Like, it's just...
Yeah, you do.
It's normal for me to... I guess being sort of somewhat half European myself, I'm sort of used to coming across odd names and things like this and pronunciation.
Exactly. Yeah.
So it doesn't really, but I can see why. It can throw people.
Yeah.
But yeah.
And especially if you're called odd Simen. That's
which means
odd Simen.
Oh, odd. All right. Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah, you got me. But that's actually a name in Norway, odd Simen.
Okay.
So now you know.
So but yeah, man, that's cool. Yeah, so this obviously Archetype, do go and check them out. I hope you do release some stuff soon, because it's awesome.
Thank you.
Don't be a stranger. I will be hooking you up for album number 2 when it's ready, because I love you and I can't wait to come and give you a hug when.
Oh, it's gonna be so good.
We can make trips and see people.
It's
again.
gonna be so good.
Which we kind of can do now, but it's weird. It's still a weird time.
Yeah, it is.
So we'll get there.
We'll get there.
But yeah, lots of love.
And I can't wait to tour this album.
Yeah. It will happen. It will happen.
It will happen.
But yeah, thanks, man. Keep spreading the love and keep in touch. And
thank you so much again, Ross, for both having me here and on your album. You have no idea how much it meant to me when you first asked me to join.
Absolutely.
It was really, really, really one of the best feelings and moments ever.
It's just the beginning, boy.
Just the beginning. So thank you so much.
You're welcome. All right.
Ross Jennings, you are the man.
Thanks, man. And thanks for everyone who watched this video. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
One more plug. Shadow of My Future Self is out now.
Shadow of Ross's Future Self is out now.
Cheers, everyone.
Cheers.